السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Hello everyone. In this video, we will talk about microorganisms. At first, we want to know what is the meaning of microorganisms. The word micro is referred to small things that we can't see without addition tool, like microscope, magnifying lens, or what else. So when we say microorganisms, we mean very, very small organisms that we can't see with our naked eyes. So we study it under microscope. And the science that study microorganisms is called microbiology. Let's see types of microorganisms. First of all, you should know that microorganisms around us everywhere, in the soil, at home, in the air, even inside our bodies. So what are the types of microorganisms? Like bacteria, protists, archaea, fungi, protozoa, and virus. Before we take a look at the types in detail, you must know that all living organisms are classified into two types, prokaryotes and eukaryotes, and the difference between them in the presence or absence of the nucleus. So what is the meaning of the nucleus? The nucleus is the part of the cell responsible for all living processes in the cell. Let's have an example. Like when you cut yourself, the cell tries to heal and make new tissue to replace the torn one or the damaged one. The nucleus is the part of the cell is responsible for this. So living organisms that their cells contain nucleus called eukaryotes, and they are definitely multicellular organisms, which means their bodies consist of more than one cell. Multicellular, their bodies consist of more than one cell. Like some microorganisms from these that we will study, protists and fungi. As for those that don't contain nucleus, called prokaryotes, and they called simple cell, because most of them, if not all of them, are unicellular, which means their bodies contain only one cell. So unicellular is mean their bodies contain only one cell, like archaea and bacteria that we will study in detail. Let's study amazing and important things about microorganisms. Protists. Protists are very small organisms that we can't see them with our eyes. So they called microorganisms. They are eukaryotes, so they have a nucleus. Protists don't consider the simplest organisms and also not the most complex one. So we say it's neither the simplest nor the most complex one, but they in between, where they are more simple than plants, animals, and fungi, but also more complex than archaea and bacteria. Archaea. Archaea are prokaryotes that don't have a nucleus. Archaea also live in places that have extreme conditions, like salty water, high temperature, and so on. So when you hear about seas or oceans that have a thermal water, which means water with very high temperature, you must know that there are archaea in this water. Archaea also can make their food by themselves, so they called autotrophs. In this point, we should stop to know the types of organisms according to their ways to get food. There are three types of organisms: autotrophs, heterotrophs, and decomposers. Let's see the difference between them. Autotrophs organisms that can make their food, like plants. We know that plants can make their food by photosynthesis processes. Also, archaea can make their food. So, archaea and plants called autotrophs organisms. Heterotrophs. Heterotrophs can't make their food, but search for it. Like us, human, our bodies can't make food, but get it externally. Also, animals, like human, search for food and their bodies can't make food. The third type, decomposers. They are organisms that feed on the another dead organisms by absorbing nutrients from their decaying body. What does this mean? Organisms after this, their bodies decayed, so decomposers can take the nutrients from their bodies easily. Bacteria. Bacteria are considered as the most famous microorganisms. There are so many types of bacteria. We will talk about them separately. Some of them autotrophs that make their food. Others are heterotrophs, can't make food. And others decomposers. So bacteria are largely spread in all types. And also they are everywhere around us, in the soil, water, air, even inside you. Don't panic, that's good for you. I mean the beneficial bacteria that live in human intestine. Please search for it. Virus. They are non-living things, so we say they aren't real cells. Unless they infect another living cell, their life begins. So when viruses in the floors or in the air are non-living, but start to live when get inside your body or animal body or whatever, the living organisms that they will infect it. Also virus not considered eukaryotes or prokaryotes, but have properties between them. Fungi. They are eukaryotes that have a nucleus and classified into heterotrophs that can't make food and decomposers that feed on decaying organisms. That's all we want to know today. See you in the next video.